Good morning, Nigeria. I like to say that TVC has our finger on the pulse and our eyes constantly on the streets. And if it's a trending story, we are going to try, within the best of our ability, to dissect it on here. In our first story, do you remember the Ibadan Children Fun Fair tragedy that claimed the lives of about 35 persons, including children, that led to the arrest of the organizers? Well, recently, in a surprising turn of events, the Oyo State government has officially withdrawn all charges against the organizers, who are Naomi Shileku-Ola, the former wife of the Oni of Ife, and the popular journalist Oriyomi Hamzat, as well as Abdullahi Fashashi, the principal of Islamic High School in Bashorun, Ibadan. Now, this trio had been held in legal proceedings following the tragic event. However, in a statement just yesterday, the Oyo State Attorney General Abiodun Aikomo confirmed that the government has decided to drop the case. He assured the public that the government carefully reviewed the circumstances before arriving at this conclusion. It seems that Oriyomi's Hamzat, his contribution to the youth community is invaluable, because just yesterday, in light of this, he also signed a young boy to his radio station and continues to be a youth advocate and a pillar of community. We have to ask ourselves, is justice served differently to people who are pillars of community? And what kind of strategies would the government put in place to avoid tragedies like this in the future? We need risk assessment for events. We need proper exit routes in case of emergencies. But let's take a look at social media. They are now free. And the Holabi says, good news for them, but trust me, just have connections in this life. If it was somebody with nobody, reverse would be the case. And Azor says, while this is a very great gesture, I think he should have given the boy a scholarship to study more about newscasting abroad. This is my opinion, though. It's referring to the boy that Oriyomi Hamzat just signed to his radio station. Kay says, that boy is nearly 15 years old. Many of his peers are already working in stores abroad. Let's not be quick to call it child labor. Even if he's younger, isn't gaining practical skills more beneficial than simply reciting Bible verses or the other book? I think people are saying, even though he does well in the community and he's helping these young people, a tragedy did occur, and that doesn't take away from it. But in our next story, a heartwarming moment has taken over social media as Governor Umo Eno of Akwa Ibom State has extended a generous hand to a struggling entrepreneur. He was touched by her determination, and he responded in the best way possible by gifting her 5 million naira to support her dry food production business. Take a look at the video for yourself.
Stand up. What do you want? What do you do?
I am into production, dry food, cassava into powder, then banana.
Where is the business?
Oh no, I don't even have a shop. I produce from the house.
Show me a sample.
I pay with my products. This is tiger nut.
How much are you looking for?
2 million.
2 million.
Yes.
Okay. Where is the Commissioner for Trade and Investment? Please take this. Take her number. Go and see what she's doing. Help me set her up. When you set her up with equipment, maybe 3 million for equipment, you give her 2 million.
Now, I think that this was an absolutely beautiful gesture, and it really does display the empathy of this particular leader, Umo Eno. But I have to play devil's advocate as a true journalist. Is this sustainable? Can we lift a populace out of poverty by giving entrepreneurs 5 million, 1 million, 2 million? But this was great to see. I'm going to take a look at social media. Bassi says, her bread has been buttered for life. I hope she uses the opportunity well. It has been if she manages to scale her business. Riam says, LOL, the governor just said his own. The people he put in charge will never let the business see the light. If she sees 200K, collect it by God's grace. Ibrahim and Etoma, I want to touch on this story. I might just be in line next week when another governor is visiting to really
when the governor shows
plead my case.
But you had the governor here, you know, on the day we launched our program. So why didn't you kneel down and ask the governor?
You have no idea what I did behind the scenes.
Well, congratulations to the woman. And I'll say it's so generous of Governor Umaino to have done that, for the woman. But the thing is, it goes to show how large-hearted he is. But how about other people who are suffering in the States? How about other people who are looking forward to, this kind of opportunity, but do not have the opportunity to even get closer to where the governor is? So one thing I'll advocate is, while it's good that you are you're open-handed, you help a lot of people, you're empathetic to people's plight, do things, put things on the ground to ensure that everyone who do not have the opportunity to meet you would be able to benefit from good governance, good programs and initiatives. That's one. And on the other story that you read regarding the Oyo State, incident, the saga that left 35 persons dead, if that is going to be closure to the families of the bereaved, maybe justice is very, very key. But if the government has said they are dropping the case, well, only God knows what happens next. But it's okay.
I'm sure the government of Oyo State has good reasons to drop the case. And going over to the Akwa Ibom story, the woman came prepared. She came prepared. Yeah. And when you are prepared and providence hits you, I mean, you set yourself up for it, and it's a beautiful end to it. Governor Umaino has been known for showing empathy. There's a young girl that came back from youth service and took a photograph and a short film and put on social media of she and her dad. Her dad is one very poor, shriveled old man. Umaino built a house for them. You were asking if that is sustainable. Yes, it is. He has proven that that's the way he is. And do remember, he's a pastor and he still pastors that church.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I know this was a feel-good story for you. As soon as you watched the video, I saw you light up over here in the studio. And I think empathy is one of the biggest marks of a great leader.
Yes.
But moving on now, I have some good news for Nigerian youth. You must have heard it already. But the Director General of the National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Olakunle Oluseye Nafiu, has officially confirmed that all corps members will begin receiving a new monthly allowance starting March 2025. Now, this has been a long-awaited increment, and it's coming 6 months after the federal government's promise to raise the stipend from 33K to 77,000 naira. Now, this adjustment aligns with the newly enacted National Minimum Wage Amendment of 2024. For a long time, as we saw in social media, corps members across the country have struggled and been very vocal with the rising cost of living, and this increase hopefully might you guys provide some much needed financial relief. But let's take a look at social media. Kopawi, Kopawa. Timmy says, they have been saying this since last year, and this year is running out, and nothing is done still. And Otaxi Connect says, this is a welcome development. Congratulations to the corps members. My advice to you on your allowance increment is that you use it in a meaningful way and help your parents with part of your allowance every month, especially if your parents aren't financially stable. That sounds to me like black tax. If you know, you know. And moving on in our next story, Maria Ochefu, the woman behind the popular Mami markets in military barracks across Nigeria, has died, unfortunately, at the age of 86 years old. Now, if you've ever been to an NYSC orientation camp in Nigeria, then you know that Mami Market is the lifeline of the entire camp. In the 1950s, Mami Ochefu, the wife of a soldier, started selling food and drinks to soldiers at the military barracks in Makurdi, Benue State. And over time, the concept spread across military and paramilitary institutions, including NYSC orientation camps, where it became an essential part of camp life. We're seeing the history of NYSC here and where NYSC stands today. But let's take a look at social media. RIP to Mami Ochefu. Psychology Chris says, she's supposed to be recognized nationally. She's a national hero and she should be honored. Mami Market is a savior, especially in the far northern part of the country. In Mami Market, when I served, I lived off of Indomie for a solid 1 month. It wasn't fun. Sugar says, Omo, the mama na legend, but Mami Market is always expensive. And in our final story, this is very somber. A disturbing case of child abuse has surfaced in eastern Nigeria, Enugu, where a father is accused of repeatedly assaulting his 9-year-old daughter, even after her mother reported him to the police multiple times. Take a look at this.
Is this an excuse that you drink and you sleep with your daughter 2 times? Is this an excuse? You met earlier. I mean, I wish you are in my 1 naira. Ijil on 1 naira. Ijil on what are you? When you born, do you know that if you see your daughter is carbon copy of you, you promote your bola rise. You go
if I won't react,
sexually assaulted.
Allegedly
assaulted. One woman left our compound. My sister, I say one letter. Because God say I don't bring people. They give you money. But you not give me money. All of them. The other one, the panda.
They talk rubbish. They talk rubbish. Did you sleep with your daughter?
I'm not sleeping with my daughter.
I have to ask the question, how does such abuse continue despite, her mother intervening and reporting this to enforcement authorities and without somebody intervening on her mother's complaints? I will direct this to Etoma and Ibrahim right now quickly for lack of time. I'm not going to be able to take a tweet. Abroad, we have child protective services who are constantly at intervals checking on children. What happened here?
We have child welfare services too, and we have an arm of the Nigerian police that takes care of cases like this. What baffles me is that the case was reported several times and a thorough investigation wasn't done, and the man just continued. For the perpetrator of such a heinous crime, yes, they say you can't say he's guilty until he's been proven guilty, but for that to even come at all is so wrong. It's a psychological problem. That man needs psychological help, and he needs to be separated from that girl immediately.
Yeah, I totally align my thoughts with you, Etoma. And I think if he's found guilty, he should be punished, very well punished. I know that Section 357 of the Criminal Code and Section 282 of the Penal Code, calls for life imprisonment. But if there's something more severe that can be done to that kind of a person, it needs to be done. Because how can you defile a small girl, let alone, to even talk about it, your own daughter? What kind of human being, would have to sexually be aroused to that young girl? If you're sex-starved, why don't you? There are places that you can go. There are places that you can go to relieve yourself. Those who are sex workers, commercial sex workers. Why don't you go there? Or I don't know. It's just something that it's abhorrent, and I want the man to be disciplined very well.
Pedophilia is a psychiatric issue.
Absolutely.
Yes, and that's what that man is suffering, and his own is a higher dose of it. Because he's doing it to his daughter.
And this also speaks to the security, agent. This man's case is said to have been reported several times without any action taken. This is something.
But if this occurred over a period of a few years, as reports are suggesting, I want to ask why her mother did not remove her from that household, whatever it took. That is the question I have to ask as a woman.
But there remains the fact that there was a report made to the security officials.
Her mother also had the first duty of care, Ibrahim.
Yes, we agree. We agree the mother has the first duty of care, and that duty of care should have actually gotten the woman to take her daughter far away from that house. So I agree with you that she should have done that, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Reasons we don't know.
We hope that
it's a very sad story.
We hope that child's rights activists will do something about this very, very well, so that the man will be punished. He must not go unpunished.
All right. On that very sad note, let's tell you that the views and reaction of all our resource persons are theirs and have no connection with TVC News. That's our package for today. My name is Etoma Edu, and have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Monday.